deck.
Yeah, and he has actually a really awesome shirt on with a puppy that has a lobster claw.
It's his top 8 shirt.
It's a nice top 8 shirt.
Yeah. And Ben is on the right, and he's playing Delver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one card that Ollie did not play that I kind of like is Bloodgift Demon, because it kind of fits the curve. You go turn 2 Heartless Summoning, turn 3 Bloodgift Demon.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think when you have the Heartless Summoning, you'd rather just have a Runescarred Demon or
Oh, yeah, of course, but it's just more expensive. Yeah, and Ollie actually had the Perilous Mirror in his sideboard.
Yeah, he had one Perilous Mirror in his sideboard that he could tutor for with his Runescarred Demons.
Yeah. So
and I don't dislike the Perilous Mirror in general. I think it's also a way for your black control deck to kill Mirror Crusader, which is really important in this format.
Yep. All right, I think they're starting. I think both players decide to keep. Yep. All right, so Glacier Fortress for Andy. Passes the turn to Ben, and Ben has a turn 1 Delver. Very strong start. Let's see if Andy has a removal for it, or he might just pass the turn holding a Mana Leak if he has one. He just passes, and the Delver does not hit. Ben actually missed a bunch with the Delver yesterday.
Yeah, he was missing more often than he should have.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Todd kept some strange hands against him, and in Game 3, Todd may have made a little bit of an error on the final turn of the match.
All right, so there's a Pike.
Pike.
Yeah, that match last night was pretty difficult, and if Todd left back his Thrun or didn't play a sword and then fetched up another mana producer, I think he would have won the game.
Yeah.
Or it would have been much different.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a different game.
Yeah. All right, so Andy's sitting on a Dissipate. Let's see if Ben plays into a Dissipate, or he might just attack for 1 and pass back, especially if he has a Mana Leak of his own. See, that's why I feel that Game 1 Delver is an advantage against Solar Flare, just because Solar Flare, a lot of their cards are kind of slow. After board, you can kind of make your deck better against Delver by either having cheaper removal or just taking out some of your slower Planeswalkers or whatnot. All right, so they're just playing some draw go. All right, wow. So the Delver flips, and this is really bad for Andy because now he's facing 3 points of power, plus he knows that Ben has a Mana Leak in his hand.
Yeah, last night when we were having dinner, Ali and Trazi was actually talking about how obnoxious it is when your opponent plays a turn 1 Delver, and then on turn 2 or 3 or even 4, they flip it and show you a Mana Leak. You just, you know you're so far behind at that point.
All right, so Ben wants to get in for
5 damages here.
Yeah, he decides to pay 2 life to Gutshot Andy. He knows Andy doesn't have any small creatures aside from Snapcaster Mage.
He probably has like 1 or 2 copies of Snapcaster Mage. I believe he has 2.
Yeah, and he just wants to get in some more damage and speed up the clock.
Yeah. I mean, if this comes down to any sort of racing situation, Ben will certainly win.
Yeah, for sure.
So Ben wants to create that type of game state. Yeah, if they start trying to grind out cards, however, and play a card advantage war, then Andy will almost assuredly win. So I think the major thing in this matchup is just kind of like a tempo versus long-term cards.
Yeah, and it looks like I definitely agree with that. Yeah, Andy has a Day Judgment in his hand. He has a Dissipate and stuff, but I feel in a matchup like this, you kind of want to use your life as a resource. Mm-hmm. You could go all the way down to like 3 life.
Yeah, I mean they don't really have burn spells. They have a couple of gut shots, but
you could even maybe like threes usually fine. But with the Pike it's tough because Ben could always go end of turn Snapcaster and it
just snipe you.
Yeah, exactly. So Andy falls to 9 life. I'm not sure if he'll go for anything yet. I think he'll probably wait 1 more turn and then maybe go for a Day of Judgment with Dissipate backup. I see a black card in his hand. I think it's either a Doomblade or a Black Sun Zenith. We'll find out in a second. He's tapping 4. I think it's a Black Sun Zenith. Yeah, it's a Black Sun Zenith for 2, and it's met with a Mana Leak. And Andy instantly throws away that Black Sun Zenith. I think he also has a Worm Coil in his hand, which would be pretty nice. All right, so Ben draws another Vapor Snag. Now he's attacking for 5, so Andy should go down to 4 life. And Ben passes the turn. All right, so Andy draws an untapped land and immediately plays it off the top. Doesn't bother shuffling his hand. And he's going to try a Wrath of God with Dissipate backup. All right, so the Wrath of God is going to resolve. The Delver will be bounced to Ben's hand. And he just needs to let that resolve. It's not much of a problem here. Yeah. No. That I 100% disagree with that play. If Ben is now it's just game over. I mean,
that's it.
Yeah. So
for those of you a little bit confused about what happened, Andy used a Dissipate on that Vapor Snag.
Yeah.
And his Day of Judgment was still on the stack, so he gave Ben the opportunity to just mana leak his Day of Judgment because he tapped the rest of his lands, and then he was just dead on board.
Yeah, Ben actually kind of set him up there, but if I was Andy, there's just no way you ever want to Dissipate that Vapor Snag because that Delver will be back in his hand, so he's going to have to replay it on his turn, and then you can just dissipate on his turn. So it's better to tap mana on your opponent's turn and make them tap mana. So I disagree with that play, and I think Andy might have been able to win that game.
Yes.
Regardless,
I would definitely agree with you.
We like you guys so much, and thanks for watching. We're gonna, do something nice. We're gonna give you guys 6 months premium.
Yep, we're gonna give somebody 6 free months of premium.
Yeah, and since it's 6 months premium, this question's a little more difficult, but you still got to tweet in at SCG Premium, and I want to hear what answers you guys have. So yesterday there was a new deck that came out. There's a specific rare from M12 that is only $3. It's a cheap card. It's inexpensive right now. And I think it's definitely a good buy. Sometimes I love to give the people some tips. And I went and I bought 13 of this particular rare from M12 that appeared in a new breakout deck. So if you guys know what rare this is from M12 that I bought 13 of, tweet in at SCG Premium, and hopefully you'll be the lucky guy.
It's green.
Oh, are we giving clues now?
I mean, it's a little vague, right?
Okay, well, I don't want to give any clues.
It's green.
It might be green.
From breakout deck.
Yeah. So I think Jake's being a little too nice here, but we'll let that slide. So tweet in at SCG Premium, and hopefully you know the answer and you have a chance at 6 months premium. So how are these guys at a sideboard? What do you think?
Do we have?
Yeah, we have the deck list right here. I think personally that Andrew is going to bring in the 2 Tribute to Hungers. I think it's just because it's not the best versus Delver. But it's some life gain. It's instant speed removal, and Andrew has a lot of cards that he doesn't really want in his deck. So I feel that he will bring in the 2 Tribute to Hungers, and I feel like he's going to bring in the 2 Phantasmal Images because he wants to have a good answer to Geist. So I think those are the 4 cards he's going to bring in, and I feel he's also going to bring in his Revoke Existence. I'm not sure if he'll bring in both or just one. He did see Pike, and it's kind of weird that he doesn't have Sword.
Yeah, he might not bring in the Revokes because Ben's deck really only has the Pike, and Ben's probably just siding in like Dissipate. Like I can't think of anything else really here that.
Yeah, well, I mean he has the swords in the sideboard, so he might think that Ben might bring in the sword just because. It just makes all his guys like better and stuff, and
yeah, Ben could also bring in 1 Oblivion Ring, I guess, right? I'm trying to think of what else.
Yeah,
Ben would want.
We could see how they're gonna sideboard. I'm not too sure, but yeah. So Ben won game 1. In case you guys are just joining us, I'm Gerard Fabiano here with Jacob Van Lunen. We're at the SCG Open in Richmond, Virginia. I think Andy's probably gonna win game 2. He's gonna be on the play. As long as he, see, it's weird because here's what would have happened game 1. Ben Vapor Snags his Delver. Andy lets it resolve. Then Ben's hand is Vapor Snag, Mana Leak, Delver. That was it, right? Pretty much?
Yep.
He might have had...
no, and a Geist of Saint Traft.
Oh, really? And a Geist of Saint Traft?
He had a Geist of Saint Traft.
Okay. All right, so those were his 4 cards in his hand.
But Andy had another Black Sun Zenith.
Did he?
Yeah, he drew it that turn.
Oh, no, he drew the untapped Drowned Catacombs.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was... Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he had a Worm Coil for sure.
Okay.
He had the Dissipate that he used. So, I mean, the game would have been different. There's a chance that Ben still would have won because he still had the second Vapor Snag to deal with the Worm Coil engine. but the game still would have been different. Like Andy definitely would have had at least another turn.
And you never know what you draw on an extra turn.
Yeah, you never know what you draw. You never know how Ben's gonna play it. Maybe Ben's playing it more cautiously and decides not to play a creature for some reason. Maybe he plays the Geist, which can't equip. I'm sorry, can't be targeted by Andy's. If Andy drew like a Doomblade, but say Ben plays a Delver, then he draws a Doomblade. It just would have been a different story. You know what I'm saying? So
that's kind of how things are with creatures now. Like, all these creatures have specific answers. Like a Doomblade isn't just like a catch-all unless the creature's black. Now creatures have Undying and they have Hexproof and they have. It's just days are hard for control decks.
Yeah, but Andy fought through a sea of creature decks,
they're surviving.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually pull up the all top 32 deck list. I'm gonna see if there's any other Solar Flare decks that made a splash. I know Shaheen Sarani played Esper Control.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play any
top 16 finish, I believe.
Yeah, he didn't play any Unburial Rights. Andy went with 2 Unburial Rights. It's a card that a lot of people went back and forth with in their Esper Control decks. Should we play it? Because if you play Unburial Rights, you have to play a card like Elish Norn, which is very powerful, but it is 7 mana and sometimes slow versus decks that you don't have time to actually cast, where you actually need it in your yard for the Unburial Rights.
And that's fair, but in another sense, like against so many decks in the format, and Elish Norn is kind of like your cruel ultimatum. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of just surviving till you get that 7 mana point till you can deplete your opponent of resources till they don't have like counter spells left, and then you resolve an Elish Norn and the game just ends.
Yeah, I mean,
like nothing else matters up until that point.
Yeah, but the illusion, the blue-white beatdown decks, they have mana leaks, they have Vapor Snags, they have Snapcaster for like a mana leak. So
I'm not saying it's
more
easy
difficult.
To resolve, but if it does resolve, it's pretty nice.
All right, so it turns out that only 2 out of the 4 decks, mono green decks, made top 16. So Todd Anderson made top 8, Maxwell Brown made top 16. I feel like the other mono green decks did fairly well, but maybe they top 64'd, or maybe they started off well and then kind of sputtered out. So mono green.
There's still another page, isn't there?
No. Oh yeah, there is. Wow. Okay, maybe you're right. No. There's still only 2 in the top 16, but they're still pretty good.
I would like to see green-red aggro.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think these guys are starting pretty soon.
Yeah, we can get back
We
to
could talk about this green-red aggro deck after this game.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so it looks like Andy's going to keep and Ben's going to keep. They're both like, sure. My hand's okay. So Andy leads off with a Glacier Fortress once again. Let's see if Ben has a Delver. Oh, wow. Ben has a Delver once again. It's pretty much the same thing as Game 1. He went Glacier Fortress. Ben went Seachrome Coast Delver. There's an island from Andy. And he just passes the turn. And, wow, it flips. And that's the new Mental Note.
Yeah, Thought Scour.
Yeah.
That card is very powerful.
Yeah, it's really good with Pike. It's really good with Snapcaster Mage.
It's good with Ponder.
Yeah, it's just... That's a card that I kind of want to play at the Pro Tour as well.
I like that card a lot.
Yeah. So the Delver will get in for 3 damage. Ben plays an island and passes the turn. So at the end step, Andy plays a Think Twice. And he's going to have access to 3 lands. He has a Liliana in his hand, but he can't cast it. That's the problem with the Solar Flare decks. Sometimes the mana is too bad.
3 colors is hard now. We were talking about this last night.
Yeah, it is. If you're playing a card like Liliana, if you're just playing the 3 color with everything's only single color, it's a lot different.
Well, that's specifically what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. So so Ben will Thought Scour himself, and he'll draw a card. So Andy doesn't have any access to black mana right now. Ben will attack for 3 once again.
Yeah. And this time Ben's Delver flipped right away.
And Ben's
So
going to play a
unfair.
Ponder. Andy lets it resolve. Can you see what the Ponder revealed?
I saw a Geist and a land, but I didn't see the last card. It may be a Thought Scour. Maybe a Vapor Snag also. Yeah, it looks like it's a Vapor Snag. So it's a Geist, land, Vapor Snag.
Okay.
So he's drawing, and it looks like he drew the Geist. And does he have the mental note? Because Thought Scour right now would be very nice. He doesn't really want that Vapor Snag or that land, so he can just cast a Thought Scour, put those 2 cards into his graveyard, and then draw a card. So his Ponder allowed him to just pluck the best of the top 3 cards, and then the other 2 can just go to the graveyard and he can start peeling off the top again.
Yeah, Ben's sitting on a mana leak, so he's in really good shape. And once again, Andy does not get a black mana, so that Liliana in his hand is somewhat dead and useless at this point. So Ben will attack for 3 more, knocking Andy down to 11 life.
And it's just such a fast clock. You know, playing a 3-power 1-drop is something that hasn't really existed in the world of Magic for a very long time. In the past, in order to do it, you've had to play green, red, and white.
Yeah, so
now,
Andy plays an end step, think twice. He then plays a Seachrome Coast, so he has 5 lands now, 4 of which he has mana to, since the Seachrome Coast will come into play tapped. But once again, he doesn't have a black mana to cast any of his black spells. So the Solar Flare deck is just coming out really clunky and not doing much.
Yeah, its mana's kind of fumbling about right now. They can try to Oblivion Ring the Delver, but we know that's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's just in great shape, sitting on that mana leak, and has a really good clock in the form of the Delver.
Oh wow, Ben has Snapcaster now too.
All right, so Andy falls to 8 life. Oh, and there's a Moulin Haunt. Moulin Haunt and Thought Scour is a pretty cool combo as well.
It is more synergy.
So there's a Forbidden Alchemy from Andy. He hits black mana. Let's see if he takes it. The other options are a couple of counter spells, which aren't really doing much. See, the problem with the Solar Flare deck when it plays against the Delver deck, Delver doesn't really need to do anything against Solar Flare's card draw. It's like, sure, you could think twice, sure, you could Forbidden Alchemy. It's just you not really doing anything because I'm beating you down with a Delver, I'm beating you down with some Spirit tokens, and maybe even a Geist.
Yeah, it's just how these types of matches play out. Like the aggro control decks can often ignore such a huge portion of the cards from the true control deck.
All right, so Andy draws a Tribute to Hunger. So there's that swamp that he kept. So now he could play an Oblivion Ring main phase, then Tribute to Hunger to possibly kill the Delver, because he's going to have to run into one. Well, does Andy have a Dissipate in his hand? I think he does.
Yeah, he may.
So why is he doing main phase? I don't understand this. Like,
yeah, this doesn't make much sense, because if he has a Dissipate in hand, he can just do it upkeep. It seems much stronger. Or even attack step.
Yeah.
And upkeep's probably the strongest.
Yeah, I still don't understand that play. Well, he allows the Vapor Snag to happen, which I do agree with. But I mean, Tribute to Hunger is an instant.
Yeah, you can just use Oblivion Ring there. If you're going to do it main phase, you might as well.
Maybe he doesn't have Dissipate. Maybe that's why.
And so Snapcaster Mage targeting Thought Scour.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's another thing that...
Yeah, I guess he doesn't have a counter. Yeah, it's another combo you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something like previously, if you wanted to draw a card with your Snapcaster Mage, like if you wanted to use a Jitaxian Probe or a Ponder, you had to main phase it. You kind of had a Silvergill Adept, but now that you have access to the Thought Scour, you can just do it at instant speed. So now, with the Mana Leak backup, this is game.
Yeah, I'm not even sure why he led with the Tribute. I feel Tribute has more value.
Yeah, it's an instant.
I mean, sure, Ben has the Moulin Haunt, but I don't think he had any creatures in his yard at the time. I mean, which he didn't, so.
I like that Ben's Snapcaster Mage has googly eyes. It's a nice addition.
Yeah, so this is going to be a lot of damage if Andy takes it. Now, I feel like if he did this reverse, I think if he played Oblivion Ring, then at least he could have had a Tribute to Tribute. Ben would have been forced to Mana Leak the Tribute if he wanted to get in this damage, and then Andy could untap and maybe drop the Elish Norn that he has.
Well, Ben's just dead, right? Or Andy's just dead, rather. I think that's just lethal.
No, I don't think it's lethal, but it might be. All right,
I don't know how the Thought Scour happened.
There's his own Snapcaster. There's a Vapor Snag, and yeah, now he's definitely dead.
Definitely dead.
Because that's +2 to the attack.
Yeah. So he's at 7, and there are definitely 5 cards in that graveyard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel Andy could have played a bit different both games, and maybe.
Yeah, I think in game 2 it didn't matter. To be honest, I think in game 2 with Ben's hand, I think it's just extremely unlikely that mattered.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but normally it's you want to give yourself every out possible.
Oh no, I completely agree.
Turns. So I don't know how the game exactly would have played out, but if you played Oblivion Ring,